Hi, this is Mark.
Hey, Mark, it's Gary Stuckey. How are you doing?
Good, brother. How you doing?
Good. Everybody doing good your way up in Michigan?
Yes, sir. We had us a good day. I had to drive downstate today, and I went back to Flint and south of there to the studio, and they had 64 degrees down there, sunshine the whole way. It's one of them days you just don't mind driving.
Yeah, that's some that's some good driving weather. Did you
Yeah.
crank up some of your old tunes and and listen and drive around? I know that's what I'd do, right?
Funny part about it is, Gary, I never, ever listen to radio or to anything when I'm driving.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've got some great tunes while I drive, driving here, driving there, going. They just come to me on my tractor. I'm driving around the field,
Yeah.
mowing hay or something, and I start getting inspired to write a song. I'll run in the barn, write the first verse, go back, mow some more hay, come around again and write the second verse, and run back out to the track. It's just like things that they got that tone, and they got the vibration and that energy, that torque. You're being torqued up. So that's what worked to write songs for me, and so I don't want to mess any of that up. And besides, when you go in to pay the bill at the gas station, or if you're going in to get a coffee or something, whatever's playing on that radio, dude, that's what's playing in my brain, and I can't change the channel.
I understand. I totally understand. Yeah, I've been there myself. Yeah, you're trying to write a song or something, and you're like, I can't get that tune out of my brain.
That's right.
Well, that's cool though that you spend time and like you're on the farm, and when a song comes to you. So does that happen? Like say in the past, did that happen in the past? Did the songs, some of your hit songs, kind of come to you like that? How did they come to be?
Yeah, I wrote Sally, going around the field doing hay. And I wrote several songs, just driving around on the tractor. But Sally was the one that I would stop and, I was hearing it in my mind. And then I had to, after I got done doing the hay, then I had to go in the house and find those chords before I forgot them.
Right. Well, that's good. At least you didn't do like a lot of people do and forget them. And then...
Yeah!
they never come back.
That's right. Oh man, they don't.
You're like, I wish I would have wrote that down.
Yeah, man, I can't tell you how many times I thought, I was sleeping and dreaming of a song, and I thought to myself, oh man, I got to remember this. I'll remember it in the morning, and no way. And man, those songs were so good. So now I sleep with a notepad, so I don't want to wake up my wife. I sleep with a little steno pad. I have for years.
Yeah.
Alongside my bed, just so I can jot things down, or if I need to, I can get up and put a reference down now on a little USB recorder, little handheld job,
right,
and just get a reference for it, and then I can go back to sleep.
See, technology, it's great in some ways. You could.
Oh yeah.
In some ways, not.
In some ways, yes.
Yeah, some ways it's hurting. So you said your wife. You've been married 45 years. Is that right?
Yeah, 45 years as of January 8th.
Awesome. See, that says a lot. These days it's hard to for people to stay married for 45 years.
Yeah, well, it's part of my Cherokee heritage because Cherokee men esteem their wives to be equal with themselves. I was out in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, and I received the Cherokee Medal of Honor. And from the tribe, one of the elders told me, he said, only when you can break the society puts out on all these movies and this the setup of men being over the women.
Right.
He says, only when you can break that and show your woman that you love her as much as you love yourself, then you will have unity.
Right.
Man, it's like when he spoke, I said, oh yeah, that rings a bell, buddy.
that it does. I'm sure that sounds like a book that you need to write or something for marriages. Or something. Yeah, that's awesome. I know since the last time I talked to you, I think the last time I talked to you was 2 years ago, and you had just had a live DVD out, and you were recording with Alice Cooper. He had just released an album. So what's been happening since then?
Well, the bass player that was recording with us in Detroit at the Rust Belt Studios, Paul Randolph, has been with me ever since, and he's been in Mark Farner's American Band.
Awesome.
So that was a really good stroke, doing that, getting to hang out with Alice and getting to play music, with Johnny B. and Wayne Kramer and, of course, Paul Randolph.
Yeah.
Then after the session was over, I just went up to him. I said, "Hey, dude, I'm looking for a bass player, and it'd be nice to have a Michigan bass player, because all my other musicians, I've got to, import them from Memphis, Tennessee, and St. Augustine, Florida, and Cleveland. I mean,
right.
Everybody comes from all over. But now, with Paul in Detroit and Cooch, my road manager, we're tightening it up, and it doesn't cost as much as it used to.
That helps a lot these days,
Oh, right? Buddy.
get to save money on, that every bit helps. I'm just saying that,
Yes.
Well, that's cool. So, still playing, you've been doing some shows lately, or what's been going on with the shows?
Yeah. Been doing, last weekend we did Tiffin, Ohio, and Port Huron, Michigan.
Awesome.
Not this one that just went by, but the weekend before. And we had, one night, Friday night was Tiffin, and Saturday night was Port Huron. So we had to drive our ass off to get up there in time to do that show. And we did it. We pulled through.
Well, yeah, that's dedication, though, when you have to travel, and you still have that energy, and the crowd is loving every second of it, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. That's what drives me.
And I know you've been quoted to say, you said, "I am who my songs say I am." So what song would you say that you are? If you had
all of them.
All of them. So it's like so if those songs are a puzzle piece to who you are, right?
That's right. And since there's no video except to the latest one, Never and Always, that there's a little video thing there, but it's not like bands that do these videos, and that's what the song is. I always want to leave that room for the individual to interpret, because it's like, when somebody reads a book and then they go see the movie and they say, "Man, that movie sucked," because their imagination after having read the book was far greater and suited their individual taste, because that's how we construct things in our imagination to suit ourselves. So, I want that to be for every person. I want that creativity. I want it, juiced up and rolling, because I'm who my songs say I am to each individual, but no two individuals are going to agree totally on everything.
Right.
Just like WNEW, New York City. Guy told me, the jock said, we ask 100 different people to write down their definition of what the song Bridge Over Troubled Water meant. He said, Farner, we got 100 diversely different definitions. No two were even close.
Right.
Yeah. And man, that spoke real loud to me, Gary.
That makes a lot of sense. I was thinking the other day about, when these psychologists do these ink blot tests and, you see like this big blob and it looks like, some people say it looks like a bat. Somebody says it looks like my grandma, but it's from the interpretation of the person. So psychologically, there's something going inside that person. So that's how they relate to that song. And I see what you're saying. It's kind of like you're painting a picture just enough to let them take that painting and add some more color to it, right?
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
Yes, sir. And that, I think as we, have gone through this evolution of music here, and when MTV started and all these music videos started, I think that ruined the effect that you and I are talking about right now, what it has on the individual, and it took away from our individual creativity and our imaginative forces within our psyche to create that movie, that runs according to our own personal taste.
Yeah. I always, growing up and I watched MTV and stuff like that, but I think what I did, I appreciated the video, but at the same time, probably I'd already heard the song and had the picture in my mind before I saw the video, so it didn't really faze me. So I guess that's what people need to do, is kind of like let it tell a story in your mind, and let that other, that's just look at that as one interpretation. But yeah, there's so many songs that are like you said, means so many things to different people, and I think that's why overall, that's why everybody loves those songs, because it does do that, because it's so many things going on there, and everybody loves that, And
yeah, man.
But you got a lot of songs in the catalog but you'd say that you've written over 90% of the Grand Funk Railroad catalog. I think you said that before, and I know last time I talked to you, we discussed a lot of things about all that, and we'll get into that, but. Back in the day, though, when you're playing Shea Stadium and you sell out, back in 72, and you sell out more, quicker than anybody's ever done, even the Beatles. How did that feel at that moment? And do you look back and go, is that a dream? did we?
Yeah, because, we were on the road touring. It's not like we were sitting around waiting for this date to come.
Yeah.
We were energized by what we had been doing, and we, took off in a helicopter from the East River and flew over the stadium, had a physical view of what Humble Pie was doing to these people. Man, that stadium was rocking, bouncing physically.
Right.
You could see it flexing. And I thought, oh my God, those people are going to break that damn thing down,
Right.
And so you see that, you're all, I was just jacked right up. And then when the limo was not there in the parking lot where we landed this helicopter, and that kind of threw us in a tailspin. Kind of had us concerned about, oh my God, all those people over there, they're waiting on us.
They might attack us. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and so this is long before cell phones or instant communications or letting anybody know what happened.
Sure.
You had to use the payphone at the end of the block. The guy ran down there, made a phone call, and the cop cars came and got us, and then we got out of the cop cars at Shea Stadium, and then got in the limo, because there it was sitting. It had gone to the wrong parking lot.
Wow.
And it went back to Shea, and as he's telling them all about being in the wrong parking lot and don't know what happened, then we pull in. So then we get in the back of the limo, and drive into the stadium in the limo and get out, and that was our grand entrance. But then, hearing the crowd, hearing the emotion, the waves that were coming from those people, man, it was like, it didn't take long to just get ready back up there, and felt like I was floating over that stage that night. I mean, I don't know if my feet ever did touch the stage.
Right.
It's just, that's the way it felt. I was riding on a sea of emotional joy and love, man. Oh man, it was so much love that night. My God.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I wish everybody could experience that. Seriously, I mean, it's a life changer.
Well, you were talking about, floating. We may have talked about this last time, but you're floating in the air, so to speak. It's a different kind of high than, say, you're smoking a doob or so. I'm just saying, but if you're getting all that energy. Tell me this though, when you're hyped up and you're playing, and the crowd's out there, and then after the show's over, how do you come down from all that? How do you come down to a normal plane and go, okay, back to reality?
you don't.
Oh, you don't. You just keep it going.
You got to settle for the time it takes, and it don't happen that night. I mean, shoot, I've gone to bed with that just rushing feeling, like my blood is rushing through my body at 120 miles an hour, and have to lay there with my eyes wide open and wait it out until I can go to sleep.
Well, yeah. Like I said, I can't remember all I've talked about, but I know this. I talk a lot about Steve Perry, of Journey and things like that, and I know that he had talked about, being so emotionally high, so to speak, for all those years, and he used that to take the place of all his hurts and stuff. Did you ever do that? Did you ever have a lot of stuff, hurts and pains, but that emotional high took the place of it? So then when you were off the road, it's like you hit the ground. Does that ever happen?
Yeah, I can definitely empathize with that, and that's great to hear that Steve had experienced that and in that way. Right. That's great that he used it in a positive way to influence himself. Because instead of feeling sorry for himself, or how people tend to do, to become a victim, using that energy, it's so beautiful. How could you ever go the other way? Just naturally, you saying that, Gary, just gave me like, yeah, man, I even got more respect for Steve now.
Yeah, and there's some things about that. I'll be talking to you about that later, but it's gotta, all that emotion has to be there, and through all these years, I know that it weighs on your mind, and I know that you've had all those experiences, ups and downs, and things like that. Back then, were you even looking into the future? I know it was all about right then in the moment. Did you ever look into the future, kinda, and go, ever think that you still be doing that like over 50 years later?
Never gave it a thought.
It just never entered your mind?
Never entered my mind. The only thing that I thought about once I made the purchase of my farm, I bought 110 acres, and then and it backed up to a mill pond in this little town called Parshallville, and there was it was 3/4 of a mile or so on the pond, and we used to ride the dirt bikes and the 3-wheelers and the 4-wheelers and go fishing in that pond, go shooting suckers with a bow and arrow and then smoke them, I just couldn't wait to get enough money to buy that other piece from Eva Huskinson, the lady who lived next door, this sweet gal, just a beautiful person. She's just an old farm gal. And she said, when I get ready to sell, Mark, I want to sell it to you. She says, I like you, and I know you're not going to turn it into trash or going to sell it to have a bunch of people moving in around here. I said, yeah, man, that's great. Right. And I ended up, making the money and buying that piece too. So I had 190 acres there. And that kind of seclusion, because this is what my Uncle Jack had in Marlatt, Michigan. He had a dairy farm. Cool. And he had seclusion. And I mean, he owned the fields on both sides of his house and down the road from his house and then way back deep and into the woods and past the river. And I mean, he had a lot of land that he was working, running dairy cattle on there. And his daughters, Marlene and Darlene, Marlene was 6'3" and Darlene was 6'2". Wow. They were some big strapping girls. Wow. And they could whip any man's ass in the county.
I wouldn't want to try that. Look out. It's Marlene and Darlene. Hey, my brother's name is Barry, so Barry and Gary. I just thought about that. But yeah. So yeah, look out. Here comes Marlene and Darlene. And, yes. and they grab you and throw you through the wall.
Yeah. Wow. So that I had that as the image of the perfect life. The farm life. I knew that if I didn't stay working, and because I've always been physical, I've always been doing something physical, and not going to the gym and doing stuff. I mean around the place. Yeah. You baling hay and you're throwing the bales around. You're hooking stuff up to the tractor. You're plowing. Always physical exercise, and I love it. I do. Here I am, 75 years old this year, and I still love it. I know that if I was to just stop and become a couch potato or a chair potato, whatever, that I'd get all blowed up and fat and die.
Well, sad. It's sad. I mean, but true. I mean, that's really what's got you going. I mean, think about it. You're staying busy and you're working hard and out there playing and singing. You always got something going on, and mm-hmm. your mind is another thing. A lot of people think when you get older, you're going to naturally have a great memory or something, but keeping your memory going and having a sharp mind is, because you're constantly, performing and doing things, and I think that has a lot of things to do with that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And not using antiperspirant deodorant.
Yeah, right. I understand that too.
Yeah, man, I don't want that shit getting up in my brains and causing Alzheimer's.
Yeah, man. I never thought about it, but there's all kinds of chemicals and all these things that we put on our body.
Yes. Yeah.
And the food we eat. You ever look at like a label and it's got the same stuff that's like in fiberglass or something, and you're like,
oh yeah,
I just ate cereal that's got fiberglass in it. I'm like, what the heck? Yeah. Who's the guy at the cereal, at Kellogg's going, I think I'll put motor oil on this stuff.
Who came up with this?
Yeah, always read the labels, people. That's all I can say.
Yeah, man.
Well, hey, I know that during, the high times of the fame back in the day of Grand Funk, I know there was a war going on, of course. And
yes, sir.
Your music was like the soundtrack of those guys' lives, and it was like going through their mind, I'm sure. I mean, I wasn't there, of course, but I'm just saying, I'm sure that it was a motivation for them to come home, with a song, all your songs, really were motivational, but like I'm Your Captain, I mean, was that really something, do the guys today, I know you're big on the veterans and helping them and everything, and Did they ever come up to you and go, that song, I'm Your Captain, with the words, getting closer to your home, and they're picturing it in their mind? Was that a motivation? I'm sure it was.
Well, yeah, man, and you can't believe how many, even of the younger soldiers, the younger generations, that still hung on to the words in that song. They played it while they were in Saudi Arabia, in Afghanistan,
right,
in Iraq. Soldiers that I have spoken with said, man, your song got me back. And I'm telling you, when a young soldier like that, one of our young veterans, I'm standing there talking to him, maybe he's missing an arm or a leg or something, and they say this to me, it's very humbling. And it just reminds me, of when I prayed for that song. The prayer got answered, and it reached and touched the hearts of those that the Lord wanted to get to.
Amen.
And that's what I asked for. So I always give God the glory. And, I'm a Christian, but I'm a custom Christian. I'm a practical Christian.
Right. You're saying you're legit. You're real. Is
Yeah.
What you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, brother.
You don't pretend to be somebody else, is what you're saying.
That's right.
Yeah, I understand. Speaking of which, my son is coming home from the Army in a few weeks after being gone for a few years, stationed over in Germany.
Awesome.
So I'm proud of
God
that.
Bless you, man.
But I know that those songs are very inspiring, and I know that all your songs, though, through the years and all that you've been through, in your life, the ups and downs and things like that, was there, I think there was supposed to be some kind of documentary or something. Did it ever come to be like a movie or something?
Well, there was, with one manager that I had, Joanne, she had talked about, doing a movie and had even contacted some people, but nothing ever, it was just talked about. But now I'm actually doing some work, some video work and some promotion work, with a cinematographer out of Detroit that, has done some great stuff. And he's seeing in his mind and saying, hey, we could do this. We could do a movie about your life. And just like what you were saying, Gary, just get the prospect of people, what they think about that song, what that means to them. And the way he's presented it to me, and he has raised, millions of dollars to do movies. And there's some other people from White Owl Films who were just talking to me day before yesterday, and I told them about this fella in Detroit, and they said, well, we'd love to work with them. And, so they're just, I don't know when, because I'm just in the, formative stages right now of just talking this thing out, but it needs to be done.
Yeah.
I really believe that, it could be healing, for people, and for them to know that besides all of the glamour on stage and all that there's another part, that motivates me, and that the satisfaction of that people have shown me that they've received, that has kept me humble. I think, that would be a very heart-touching point.
Sure.
that would sell that to the hearts.
Yeah. So would it be like a documentary, or would it be like a regular movie, like a biography, real movie about your life, and you get somebody to play you? Would it be like that?
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
So who would you get to play you?
Oh, he's got some ideas. I don't.
Do you have any?
Until I am presented with this person, that person, and the, what the storyline is of the movie and what he's seeing, then I could have the input. But I am no good. I'm good at songs. I mean, that's what I've done all my life. But
right.
Movies, I don't. I leave that to somebody else.
Okay.
I can understand and I can critique, somebody's storyline, or after they explain to me how it's going to be presented, then I can have my input there. But until then, I'm just I'm listening.
Hey, you still got the music going on, so you could fall back on the other, just for fun. For the
yeah.
of course, you should. You can make a cameo in the movie, right? You could be.
Oh yeah.
Somebody in there. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, man.
Well, tell me this. And I've been reading about. I checked it out today. The Farner chords. That's cool. Tell me about the Farner chords.
Well, the Farner chords came to be after a friend of mine sent me a video link. He sent me this link and he says, "Hey, Farner, is this really how you play Sin's a Good Man's Brother?" And so I ran the clip. I went to the link and played it. And I have to call him back. I said, no. I didn't realize, I didn't know up until that point, and this was probably, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, Gary. And I was talking about that very thing to Jimmy Romeo, this cinematographer. And I said, do you think we could put something together where you do a 2-camera shoot, one on my right hand, one on my left hand, so that, somebody could zero in on exactly, it has to be an accomplished player. This is not for beginners.
Yeah.
So somebody that can already play and they can see what a guitar player is doing on the fretboard. Then they go, oh, that's how he did it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've seen some guys, some very good guitar players, who tried to do it. They made it sound great, but it was not the chords I used.
Mm.
So I said, Jimmy, can we do that? He says, hell yes, man. Because I told him, I want to be able to give it to the fans, to those people who want to learn these songs, for them to be able to play it when they go out, if they're playing it for their mom, or playing it for the nightclub, or for a wedding reception, wherever they're playing it,
yeah.
To play it right, man.
Wow,
that's what a reward that is for me.
Yeah,
as the creator of that work, to have somebody care enough to want to do it the right way.
And what a treat for them to learn it the right way. But the guy that you saw playing it wrong, you should have went on his YouTube channel and said, "That sucks, dude. Stop it." Just stop right now. Let me show you how to. Hey, no, I'm kidding. Hey, I'm sure he did okay. Hey, but look, I play guitar. I'm going to give a plug to myself. No, but what I like about what I was looking at, normally they go back to the beginning. Like you said, you got to be an accomplished player to understand. But a lot of times they'll go too far and they'll go, first you go 1, 2, 3, the 3rd fret, and then you go down 3 strings. I'm like, dang, dude, get to the point. But you get to the point because you're showing the chord patterns in it. You don't necessarily say it's on the 7th fret, 3rd string. You just show it, and they automatically know, hey, that's going to be a G down there on the, whatever it might be. But
right.
So that's cool, and but that really is something that everybody can appreciate, and then the man himself is showing you how to play it. It ain't some guy that, learned it his way. It's the guy that wrote the song.
Yeah, brother.
That's really cool. And
I appreciate that. I really do, because, you know, it's one thing when it's in your mind, but then when you release it and you are echoing what I have heard from a few people now, that, man, this is so cool, because it's like you're not charging for this.
That's crazy. Yeah.
You know, and people are getting, I've had so much good medicine in my heart from this, brother. I'm not kidding you. People saying stuff to me, man, you know, just really encouraging things. And I never, you know, that wasn't part of the deal. The deal was I just wanted them to do it right. And just because I make different inversions, you know, and when I play keyboard, with like the next video will be either foot stomping music or creeping.
Cool.
I'm thinking I'm leaning towards creeping, yeah. But then if it's creeping, then the fourth one will be foot stomping music, and we'll get the keyboard players in there.
That's cool.
Yeah, because here's another thing, Gary. Everybody, they go, "Hey man, I love that foot stomp." And I mean, accomplished keyboard players, and they get the left hand right, but when they grab that handful of chords that I get, you know, playing the right hand on that B3,
yeah,
there was nobody, no keyboard player ever, not one, ever played it right. And great keyboard players, but guitar players make chords different on a keyboard. Yeah. It's our, you know, that ain't our nature. We weren't raised on that damn thing.
Exactly.
So, you know, so I make different inversions, and being self-taught on the guitar. I mean, I learned your basic E, C, D, G, you know, the things that, and then the bar chords. But I also heard, like on Sin's a Good Man's Brother, that intro on the acoustic guitar. Yeah. I heard those notes, and I was out in the studio playing them, and Terry Knight said, "What is that you are playing?" I said, "I'm trying to discover these chords that I would like to play as an intro to this song, to Sin's a Good Man's Brother."
Wow.
He said, "Well, man, we'll just let you sit there with it, because you can't even believe what it sounds like in here," because they had an acoustic or a, what do you call it, diaphragm mic sitting out in the studio, large diaphragm microphone. He said, "Man, that thing, it is sounding awesome. Those chords are awesome."
Wow.
So it was touching him as the producer, just me playing the chords, you know, out there in the studio. They were the right chords for this song, the right setup. And you got to play the right inversion to get the same chords. I mean, if you one finger is off, it might sound good, but it ain't gonna sound the same.
Right.
Yeah.
And I discovered why all those guys, they couldn't get those chords right on that keyboard. I know why, because they're not Mark Farner. That's why. There's your answer. Okay. No, but that's true though. I mean, that, you know, you're talking about, you know, playing guitar when you're self-taught, you learn things a certain way, and if you're going to take more chances than a guy that's, you know, and not knocking people that are, you know, classically trained and know all these musical notes and stuff. I mean, like for me, that's how I was, you know, I just learned by ear. So if you come up with something, it's not something that you already knew. It's something that you're discovering, and you're bringing it out, and you're making it. It might not even be a regular chord. You're just kind of mixing stuff together, and it's like, that works, you know. But yeah, that's really cool. But that's what it is. You're Mark Farner, and there's no, and there won't ever be another one. And
yeah, man.
Except no imitations, right?
That's right. And it's just like snowflakes. You know, there ain't two alike.
That's true. That's true.
There ain't two people that's been alike. So
that's,
you know,
that's what it's all about.
Yes, sir.
And you were talking about earlier about helping people. In the younger generations, people discovering your music for the first time. They're like, I want to learn. I want to be like Mark Farner when I grow up. I want to hear. I want to play those notes like he did. So it's like, but you're giving back to these people, and I always heard, and you know what I'm talking about. If you give things, give and it shall be given unto you. Have you ever heard that before?
Oh yeah, good measure, pressed down, and
yes.
shaken together. Yeah.
And see, that is why good things are coming. So,
yes, sir.
But like I said last time, we talked about different things, and of course, everybody that's ever interviewed you, they're going to talk about Grand Funk and the reason why you're not playing with them. Will you ever be back with those guys? And I know the last time I talked to you, you wanted to, and unlike I was talking about Steve Perry of Journey, his situation, he was kind of they kind of went on without him, and he kind of got upset, and he didn't come back. But you are wanting to come back, so do you think? What can you say or do differently? Because you always hear the same story, probably from both sides, maybe about what's going on there. But what's something that you could say that maybe would spark something up?
Well, it takes two to tango over there when you got two against one in a corporation. If Mel was to side with me, because I did write 92% of the music, and it is my voice that is on all those songs, right. We would have a closer resemblance to the original Grand Funk than Don and Mel with another three guys.
Yeah.
And I believe that there's something to the fact that it isn't Steve Perry. Yeah, they got some guy that sounds like him. As far as what people are telling me, the guy that is singing for Grand Funk doesn't even come close to sounding like me. So, when people go to see them, all they can be is a tribute band, seriously. But if Mel was to side with me, and him and I went out with a drummer, we'd kick ass, and we would. People would come because we could call ourselves Grand Funk, but we would be 2/3 of that with the creator in there of these works, and that vocal that people recognize, Brother Gary.
Yeah.
I think once Mel got wind of that and made the jump to hyperspace and crossed over, then we'd get Brewer to fold back into the fold and go out and kick some ass.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
I think it could happen. But like a lot of other bands, you've heard a lot. Journey's got stuff going on. I think Kiss, the other day on Howard Stern, I think Paul Stanley was talking about Ace Frehley and Peter Criss, the reason why they didn't play at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction. And he said if they would have played, they would have had to call themselves Piss instead of Kiss. And Ace Frehley is upset now. He's saying he's going to spew a lot of, dirt on Paul Stanley because he heard, him say that. So that's kind of a rough thing to say from some former band members, but you don't throw anybody under the bus. You're like, you talk about facts, but you don't really go, that guy's a jerk and I don't want to see him anymore. It's like, you're thinking we can do some great things, right?
Yes. Yeah, man, because, I'm a music fan. And when all the Beatles were still sucking air, I could not figure out for the life of me why they just wouldn't bury the hatchet and, for the sake of the fans, go back out and entertain as the original band. If they would have done that, I would have paid any amount of money to go see them. I ain't kidding you.
And I think I think everybody is in the same boat. I think they're like, they would be there. If Steve Perry came back to Journey, everybody would buy a ticket. You know,
why not? Yeah, brother.
I mean, it's one of those things, though, and the fact that's what blows my mind is the fact that you're open to it after all that's been said and done. You're still like, I want to play with these guys. You know, I mean, after all these years.
Yeah,
that's got to stand for something.
I think so. You know, I'm just still, I'm so abused when we go, you know, when I have a corporate, because every year, you know, you got to have a corporate meeting, and nothing that I've ever said has ever been taken seriously. And, you know, I can't tell you about what has been said in specifically, but I can tell you, you know, because that would be against the law, but I can tell you that I'm not taken seriously, and it hurts, but I won't let it bum me out, because I would be holding my own self in debt consciousness, and I'm not going to do that. I won't even allow myself to have any amount of regret, because regret is you know, it's sin, or debt consciousness, which is actually, you know, sinning against yourself. When you know, we got to cop this attitude of setting ourselves free, because ain't nobody can do it but us, man. That's one thing Bob Marley did have right. You know, that there's no one but yourself can set you free, you know, from all this debt consciousness, not financial debt, but the debt of unfulfilled expectations of other people, and the debt of regret that we've had, and we hold our own self in debt consciousness. Man, we can't go there.
No.
And you know, but there's a lot of people that do, and I feel sorry for them, because they fell for it. They took the bait and they swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. You know, just really went that way. But man, that's that evil stuff. That's, you know, that stuff ain't gonna get you into heaven.
No, not at all. And I was thinking, I know you said that, like, the 2/3 are over there and you've got the 1/3, but I was thinking of it like if you had like this special, you know, brand X, you know, cola, and you put, you know, the majority of it, like you wrote most of the songs, and it's mostly, I mean, you've got a big part of this, right? So if you put like brand X over here in this cup, and it was like, you know, almost full, and then you put some, you know, a third over here or two, you know, and people tasted it and it was the same thing, but they put such and such a brand on top of that, and they go, I'm going to go for that brand because that's the brand I know. Meanwhile, this brand, which is same thing, but it's not getting noticed. You get what I'm saying? It's like you're not getting that full respect.
Yeah.
Because of that brand name. You're not getting
that
full.
Brother.
So how is that, and what can be done about that outside of them?
Well, there can't anything be done except, you know, there's people that are fans. There's a bunch of people that are fans that are in different, you know, besides the military people, I know CIA and, you know, DEA people that are fans. There's people that are professional people that have started bringing to my attention shareholder abuse. And even though the Bible says, you know, stay out of the courts, sometimes that's the only thing that can settle something.
Yeah.
You know, when there is that kind of abuse. And I don't know anything about it because I'm not an attorney. I don't even think that way.
Yeah.
You know, I can't make heads or tails. When it's here to and there to and all this, just it turns my brain in a knot. You know, I think that's what it's supposed to do, and it's very successful with me because I'm just a basic, you know, fundamental kind of guy.
I understand that. Well, looking, through this past year or so, I mean, you see where we're losing a lot of, different artists, like Jeff Beck, people like that, you're thinking, whoa, he's gone. So you don't get that opportunity, and people that wanted to play with him, they can't get that opportunity anymore,
Right.
So I'm thinking about, and I hope we all live a long life, maybe 100 and something years, but I mean, you're not promised tomorrow. So I don't understand why there's such a big wall that can't come down between people that needs to, for friendship and for the fans and for the whole, just for the whole legacy, to say, this is the final chapter. Let's do something big and say, hey, we appreciate you,
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you. But you know something? A friend of mine who's a DEA in Washington, D.C., he said, because what was done was premeditated and he pulled it off, he'd never want you around him for fear that you would retaliate in some way. And he's hurt you so bad that he fears the retaliation would be akin to it, to that depth of, and I said, well, he don't know who I am, if he's thinking that way, he don't know who I am. But I did get it. I mean, yeah, man, I mean, if if I premeditated something and pulled it off, I wouldn't want that person around me.
Yeah.
So I got that, and that may play into it, or it may not. But that was a professional person that offered that as some kind of reasoning as to why he don't want to.
Well,
because hey, just on the financial aspect of it, oh my God, those guys are playing for a pittance of what the real band could be making.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. I'm like, it would be in everybody's benefit for a reunion and a tour.
Yeah,
and just build it up, the farewell tour, and just boom.
Yeah,
and it's
I'm with you,
whoa.
buddy. Yes, it makes too dang much sense.
And you record like live, the band live, and it's like this big package in this box set of everything, and it's just like this, looking at from that point of view. So it has to be something bigger. It's got to be like a guilt thing, or it's got to be something big that would prevent that. So, but hey, I'm one of those never say never and hope, and things like that. So I'll be,
brother,
I'll be expecting that. Well, what about you as far as musically? Have you got anything new musically that you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What
wow.
What you
I've got some new stuff. I've got some, man. People have told me that it's anointed where I'm at with these few songs that I have. And I'm working with Mark Slaughter. Do you know who that is?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
From the band
Well, Mark Slaughter, he's part Native American himself, Cherokee. And for some reason, when we hooked up and we did that Howard Stern show, and we played I'm Your Captain, and Slaughter was standing across from me singing, and when we got to that, am I in my cabin dreaming? He's doing a harmony, brother, and he's up there hitting those notes. And I looked over at him as I'm playing and singing, and I had to take my headphones off because I can't play with headphones on. I had to hear the band, feel the band, so I could hear him real good. And when we got done doing that session, I showed him a couple of songs that I had been working on. He says, man, I'd like to work on that stuff with you. So and that's the first time I'd ever met him.
Wow.
So we struck up a good friendship, and then come to find out, we both have the native blood in us.
Yeah.
And he's producing, and he's down there in Columbia, Tennessee, about an hour outside of Nashville, and we do stuff through, Dropbox. I'll send a file to the Dropbox, and he can bring it into his digital audio workstation and put it in the track, and there it is. But we do the best work, of course, together. When I'm down there at the studio, and him and I are face to face, spirit to spirit, brother to brother, we can lay down the law. And this stuff, I've got a song. The first one that's going to be released, I could tell you the name of it's called Same Game. And Same Game rocks, dude. Awesome. Oh, my God.
I'm sure it does.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Everybody I've played it for, I've had people here from Japan. I've had, friends up. I've had other musicians. When I'm on the road, I'll just play it on the phone, and they go, "Oh my God, Farner, that is the shit!"
Wow.
Yeah, man. So we are going to put out something it's full of love, brother, and it's full of concern, and it's full of the truth, and it's not in A440. It's in A432.
Wow.
A very compatible frequency tuning standard that's in touch and in tune with everything natural, awesome. Everything in nature. 440 is a dissonance against a lot of the natural frequencies in nature, and I believe that's why they made it a tuning standard.
I never thought about that. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Well, tune your guitar. Tune an acoustic guitar down to 432.
How to do that?
And just let that minister to your soul. You play that, and when I first did it, I couldn't believe, because when you're almost there, and your little tuner, because I got a headstock tuner, you can go up or down from 440.
Yeah.
So I was taking it down, and then I started tuning the guitar, and there's this little harmonic, there's like a whistle, on the top of it. I'm going, wow, that is awesome, and then when you play a chord, once you get them all whistling, oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Huh. I'm going to try that when.
Yeah, you need to.
Wow, that's really cool. Man. Well, I appreciate you talking to me. I won't keep you, but I enjoyed talking to you last time. I really enjoyed it this time. Man, you're like one of the best like ever. My late uncle Terry was a drummer, and he grew up just, y'all were the band. Grand Funk was the band for him. He's a teenager
awesome.
in Mississippi, and he went on to play in bands for Bell Records and played with, toured with Leonard Skinner, places like, people like
awesome.
that. Yeah, he was
awesome.
in a band called Storm. And then the guys from Journey, some of the Greg Rowley, Steve Smith, and Ross Valerie of Journey, they were out of Journey back in the day. They formed The Storm, and I found out that they put a "the" in front of that because of my Uncle Terry's band, Storm.
Wow!
So that's my connection. But yeah, your music has just touched a lot of people, man, and I'm thankful to talk to you, man.
Well, I appreciate it. I take that as encouragement, and I hear the truthfulness of your soul when you speak to me, and I appreciate you as a brother.
Well, I'm looking forward to everything that you do, and I'll be checking out all those chords and everything. That's really cool, and I'll be tuning my guitar to that, and I'll be looking forward to the future. Thanks so much for talking to me.
You bet. All right, brother. If I don't see you in the future, I'll see you in the pasture.
Amen. I'll talk to you later.
Amen.
All right.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Bye for now.